Hey everyone, for this episode of Adam Answers, I'm going to go back to Facebook. And someone with the username Intrepid Therapist submitted a question, and it's a really, really good question. So I'll read it in its entirety. It says, in learning SFBT, we know the core important questions, i.e., if your desired outcome was present, how would you notice? Or what would you do instead? Or how do you know you're at a 3 and not a 2? But sometimes I notice if I ask questions I haven't heard before, such as, if at a future date, somehow you felt closer to your desired outcome, how would you look back upon this time in your journey? My mindset behind that question is that I'm asking the client to adopt the lens of a version of themselves that has more of the desired outcome to look at their present as they think about their problem and relation to it, and think, I would have seen this as just another barrier I had to cross. But I fear it's too close to problem-solving question. How can we tell if the new question is SFBT or not? So one of the things that I love about this question is the depth of thinking, and you're getting at, in some sense, what's the thinking behind the question? And I think that's a really useful place to sit and contemplate, because it helps us. We need to understand why we do what we do in order for us to know, is what we're doing helpful and effective? And can I replicate what I'm doing next time or with a different person? So one of the pieces of the question that I really, really love is my mindset. You said my mindset behind that question is that I'm asking the client to adopt a lens of the version of themselves that has more of the desired outcome. Now, there's multiple pieces of that portion of your question that I really, really love. One is that it's a mindset. You're saying, okay, this is where I am, this is what I'm thinking, this is what's going on for me. I think that's a valuable place to look. Second, you say, I'm looking for a version of the person. And one of the reasons that I love this is you're saying, I want this question to say, when you're the version of yourself that you want to be, how does that impact the way you view things? Now, I would say I've started talking about the diamond in a bit of a different way, where it's connected to identity. I've connected the desired outcome to an identity transformation. The client comes in and they're saying, I want a version of me that doesn't currently exist, or that I haven't had for a while. And so when I want my identity to change. And so when you're asking this question about the version of themselves, you're saying, what's the identity that you want? And when you have that identity and you look back, what's different about what you notice when you look back? And so what you've also done is the third component of your question that I really like is it's connected to the desired outcome. Remember, the entire purpose of a solution-focused conversation is to get a description of the desired outcome. And you're saying, I just want them to assume their desired outcome is present. And then I want them to look back and I want them to say, what difference does it make when your desired outcome is present on what you're going through right now? And it might change the way they view what they're going through right now. So those three components of this is all in the service of desired outcome. This is about an identity transformation. And this is a question that in essence shoots someone into the future. All of those things are consistent with the diamond approach to solution-focused brief therapy. Now, one of the things that I want to point out about your question as well is that it really aligns to a research article that we wrote. Cecil Walker, Paula Lang, and I wrote an article about presuppositions. And we talked about, in that article, a certain kind of presupposition, which is called a conditional presupposition. A conditional presupposition says, if this condition is in place, how would you answer the question? And your question inserts a conditional presupposition. It says, at a future time, when your desired outcome or your desired transformation or your identity transformation has occurred, that's the condition. when you're close to your desired outcome, how would that change the way you look back over what you're going through right now? You say, I presuppose that if you're closer to your desired identity, it's going to change the way you view this. The conditional presupposition is, the condition is their change has happened. The presupposition is that will impact how you view what you're going through. So that is consistent with the diamond approach to solution-focused therapy, is that we put the condition in place, your desired outcome is present. And then we assume it's going to change everything. It's even going to change the way you view what you're going through right now. And so I would say that is completely consistent with solution-focused brief therapy. The final thing I want to say is I love the creativity of your question. Sometimes we think we have to ask certain questions or phrase things in a certain way, and you are saying, look, I'm thinking totally different here. My mindset says, hey, if they could become who they want to become, that's going to change how they view even this current situation. I want to ask about it. What would change? What would be different? That is precisely what solution-focused brief therapy should be asking people. So you're right. It's an unusual question. It's a different question than we usually talk about in solution-focused brief therapy. But the premise of the question, the mindset of the question, the conditional presupposition of the question, the anchoring in the desired outcome is all there. And so I would say those kinds of questions, when they meet those parameters, are exactly the solution-focused questions we should be asking. They are the kinds of questions that are new, that are different, that ask our clients to consider something they've never considered before, which is exactly what a transformative conversation should be. So I love your question, and I think you should keep asking questions that are like that, because I think it upholds what solution-focused brief therapy is. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have follow-up questions, if you need me to clarify anything, please let me know. If you have new questions, submit them so that I can keep making these videos. But in the meantime, thank you, Intrepid Therapist, and keep up the great work.